Sometimes I be riding your face and hit like Genjutsu in place. That's how it be though. Nothing but great effort just to get a C though. Eyes watching but we never seem to be though. So before we get into the review, I just gotta say, I'm not gonna lie. Whoa, the Tokyo Ghoul fandom, I didn't even realize, because in case people don't know, I was on a bit of a hiatus, a mini hiatus for the past few days. I had pre-recorded content so people could get, but my gosh, I cannot believe the fandom right now and how people are losing their minds and going crazy over hair color changes. Don't get me wrong. And we will address everything, every single thing that is problematic about this episode. But I gotta say, for the people that are saying, you know, oh, this anime is even worse than the previous 2 seasons, you're lying to yourself and you know it. At the very least, you can always say this is better than Route A already based off these 2 episodes. Obviously, it could take a nosedive from here on out. But as it stands right now, Tokyo Ghoul way better done, way better planning than the 2nd season. It's just clear as day. The 2nd season was a rush job. This one, they had more time to sit back because nobody was expecting this. You know what I mean? Nobody thought we was gonna ever get another Tokyo Ghoul anime. Getting was a really awesome treat, but it's ridiculous. People that are going crazy saying the anime is garbage, you thought the anime was garbage long before a hair color change. And let's be honest about that. You hated the anime before the hair color change, before Ken didn't do this and smile. Let's cut the shenanigans. With that being said, let's jump into the review and address everything because I love this episode. Best season of Tokyo Ghoul thus far. If Tokyo Ghoul can keep up what it did with these first 2 episodes, pacing wise, then this will slaughter at the very least the first 2 seasons pacing wise. But on top of that, just because the source material is so rich, it's really hard to screw up stuff like this. Now, there was some elements that were missing, and I'm sure manga readers alike, even though I've read the manga or whatever, and I know more or less like, oh, you know, he was missing the I'm lying hand sign and things of that nature. But again, those are the elements that were already stripped away. You know what you're getting into again with this anime. We're 3 seasons deep with 27 episodes as of this point, right? 12, 24, 20, 26 episodes deep or some shit like that. You know every element that we want is not going to be in there. So I don't understand why manga readers this far in are still like, we're episode 2 of Re. You could have said that episode 1 where we were missing out things. We're episode 2. It's par for the course. We're still going to be missing out on things that are really awesome in the manga. It's annoying, but this is, I guess, the way they're presenting it, a different experience, which is more action oriented, more of the suspense and less on the elements that we really, you know, appreciate in the manga, the tragedy, the small details. And I think, honestly, if you think about it, again, that goes into the tragedy of Ken Kaneki. That small lying sign is, he's a tragic person. And unfortunately, those are the elements they've taken out. But let's not talk about that, because I gotta talk about what I felt. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say here, I'm a manga reader. Why? No, that episode had me, woo! Between the scenes of Sasaki Heisei and Kisho Arima. Oh my god, Kisho Arima. The introduction to some interesting characters. You know, we got that Furuta guy. I can't remember the other dude's name. Looks really sick and nasty looking or whatever. Then, of course, we had Akira Mato really driving it. And honestly, let's talk about one of the moments I want to talk about. I feel like I'm getting around what we all came here to hear me talk about. For the most part, anyway. Because there was 2 big, really awesome things. I think the beginning from where we left off with Sasaki Heist going wild on Nishiki, bro. That scene, oh my gosh. Again, I'm sure there's manga stuff missing. I'm not going to keep on referencing that. We know it was awesome. And by the way, I've been watching this in English dub, and they are, for the most part, nailing it. There's a couple of voices I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not that fond of, and normally I don't really complain about English dubs, but I don't really care for the English dub of Urie. His voice, not necessarily even the voice, I think the voice fits him, it's more so the actor. Doesn't seem that seasoned. Shirazu just kind of sounds like he's putting on a voice. Those are the 2 ones. Yonebayashi, awesome voice actress. Mutsuki, I think, pretty much nailing it. I'm kind of familiar with, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the same actress that does a lot of other work. So those voices are, you know, okay. Of course, Sasaki Heist, same guy that did Ken Kaneki, doing this character as well. Awesome, no complaints there. So in terms of that, fine, but man, let's talk, Toka. Oh, y'all know, if y'all been watching my Tokyo Ghoul videos, y'all know I really appreciate, and I know the anime takes that extra mile to push it, because if there's one thing that I've noticed that is a huge difference, that it's a big deal in the manga, it's a bigger deal in the anime, is the shipping and pairing of Ken and Toka. The love that they have, the tragic love. If any of the tragedy of Tokyo Ghoul went anywhere into the series, it went into that relationship. It went into, damn, this sucked. That scene though, when he walks into the reshop, I saw it coming. And oh my god, I was like, yo, no. And Ken, the one tear coming down his eye, Toka with the smile, the reminiscent feel, him saying, man, the coffee and everything, it gave me vibes. I remembered, and of course they played it off nicely off the beginning when he very first seen Toka and stuff like that. Just, they nailed it. They really nailed, at the very least, emotionally, stylistically, and all around what's been par for the course with their relationship. Now, Heist, formerly Ken, doesn't know who she is, but their relationship is so strong. I don't know if it's the wanting to be together, the caring that they have for each other. I think it's all of it combined. He don't even remember who the fuck he is, but his feelings remind him, to a certain degree anyway, of her. Because, again, he don't know who she is, so why is he crying? Very, very awesome stuff. I've seen that in a couple of the, obviously, stories. It's not, reinventing the wheel or anything, but it still really hit me. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be 100% honest with you. Call me corny, whatever, but this really makes me feel, to a certain degree, when I see things like this. Like, for example, again, they're kind of reunited. It's not Ken per se, but at the very least, Toka gets to see him. His inner demons and emotions remind him, to a certain degree. Again, he doesn't know who she is, but emotionally, he knows that there's a connection there and there's some history, and it was beautifully done. And it honestly reminds me when I'm away from my fiance, and let's just say it's a week or something, and I get to be reunited with her. That's the feeling I get, and that's why I appreciate it so much. And I feel like, to a certain degree, it feels not necessarily real, because Ken and her didn't have this amazing deep relationship. Half of, or majority of season 1 was her kicking his ass and telling him he's weak and stuff like that. Yeah, there was under layers of it, and the manga is done way, way better, but nevertheless, it was just really a powerful moment. The music, which from Rude on, well, no, I'm not even gonna lie, the opening one of the very first, like, the music that they used in those scenes, absolutely just, again, it gave it an extra flair, which they've done great jobs with, especially the OST. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little like, Ken, I know, Ken, I know. It was great. Beginning of the episode, amazing as well. I think it was probably the in-between stuff where we're getting a lot of setup that might have lost a few people and felt a little sluggish, a lot of dialogue, but that's what I appreciate from Tokyo Ghoul. I appreciate that it takes the time to do those moments that some might consider boring. I consider it developing, giving a little bit of, obviously, substance, giving a little bit of exposition, which, hey, you need sometimes, so I appreciate that. But the very beginning of the episode, Sasaki Heisei losing it in front of his team, all of it played out so beautifully. It was like, yo, for a second, Shironeki came back. Shironeki came back for a split of a second, and Nishio knew it, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I will say, to a certain degree, there was one thing that the manga did that the anime, and again, I don't like to do that, but I will say that because Nishio's character feels slightly different in the manga. I felt in the manga, Nishio, it felt more sympathetic and more caring towards Ken. And this one, kind of a little bit like, whoa, oh, ho, you know what I mean? It felt more emotionally driven in the manga, again, a la tragedy, than in the anime, but it was still a really awesome scene, I ain't gonna lie. When Heist lost it and busted him, and then he had to dip, and he was losing it and going back into the whole thing. I love stuff like that, especially when it's executed properly. The whole fighting your inner demons, obviously, you see it in a literal sense, but it's also in a figurative sense of fighting your inner demons, the things that mess with you, and of course that's right now his past. And leading on from that scene, which again, just kudos for days, I love that scene, amazing stuff. The Arima and Sasaki, right? He's talking about that he don't know 20 years of his life, the first 20 years of his life. I think at this point, if I'm not mistaken, this is about a year and a half to 2 years and a half. No, I want to say it's 2 years and a half, and in the manga it's 3 or something like that. The time skip, so Sasuke's what, like 22 now or some shit like that, somewhere around there, and he doesn't really remember, again, anything of that. He gets these reminders, like, that was just brilliant when he said Nishiki, and then he started losing it and stuff like that, and oh man, and I think it really showed the difference in power between somebody like Ken Kaneki, or anybody that is truly a half ghoul and half human, that power, or Sasuke Heist, shall I say, and people like the Quinks. They're artificial, basically. They're not exactly like Ken. They haven't gone the full distance, because again, in this episode, one of the big deals is Urie is trying to pull some sly stuff. He wants to get his RC cells up, but it's a very risky deal. all of a sudden he's in the hospital. You could tell that he went against orders and stuff like that. And I think one of the biggest things as well, because, you know, I shied away a little bit from talking about the newer cast and some of the things that happened in this episode with them, but Shirazu's promotion to squad captain, I believe he's, you know, or the leader and stuff like that. No, Sasuke's the top, and he's basically like, you know, right under him or whatever to help move along. He took away, you know, Urie's position, and my gosh, it was a metaphorical and physical slap to the face to Urie, because you can see already with his character, which I'm not gonna lie, I think for the most part Rie is doing a decent job at showcasing Urie as being a scumbag. The manga did it probably a bit better, I would say, because it was just a lot of this guy is always talking crap. I think the anime has been doing a decent job at that. Not as good as, again, with the manga, and I don't like to compare too much, but I'm still gonna say, yo, I feel the same way I felt about Urie at the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul Rie, what I'm doing with the anime, and that's that, bro, you need to get your shit rocked. I want to see Ken come through and snap his fingers and bust you in your nose. So that little slap you got, that should be your warning, dog. Chill out. But obviously you can see that this guy got a long ways to go because he has grudges. We got a little bit of his backstory as well, finding out about his father and how he died in one of the raids and how he holds resentments. And it's not just against one person. He probably resents the world and feels like the world owes him for what happened to him, which is understandable. At the end of the day, he lost his dad. Other people have their fathers that are even working in the same field. He's gonna feel like that. So Urie, while I want to see him get rocked. You know what I mean? I want to see him get owned so he can realize his position and where he's at. At the same time, it makes it for an interesting character because you see that he has all this hatred and shit like that. If he can obviously see, like, you know, the light, so to speak, and not be an asshole, he could be a pretty interesting character and overall have a good turnaround. But as right now, Urie, smack him up again if you need to because he ain't listening. Shirazu, cool. Yonebayashi, not much of her in this one. Mutsuki, we got a little bit as well, but not really much with Mutsuki. And honestly, the torso stuff, going into Aogiri and seeing like this episode had a lot, honestly. People were shitting on a couple aspects of Ken didn't do this and Toka's hair color, and we're gonna address that in a second. But the things they got right, honestly, again, pacing wise, we got torso a little bit more, him leading into Aogiri tree now, so we're getting more building up into who this character is. And again, I feel as though this episode for the most part nailed it, but I do want to address again a big deal in this whole fandom, and people are absolutely raging and really upset again about Ken not doing his infamous look of, hey, I'm lying and smiling at the same time. I don't know why I call it the look, but you know, when he smiles and says yeah, but he's really lying when he puts his hands. People are upset about that classic trait, but again, we're going with the anime's canon. Even though for the most part we have similar events, we're going with, I guess, the anime. I'm not sure if we're ignoring season 2. I think we have to ignore season 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a lot more Tokyo Ghoul anime, just because again, the pacing is like, whoa. But people need to chill. At the end of the day, there are many different things they could play around with Toka's hair. And if Toka's hair is a different color and how obviously it's symbolic, and there's a couple aspects of like, yo, she's trying to hide out, definitely they should have just stuck with the manga the way the manga did it, but that doesn't ruin it. It's a hair color. That's like saying I dropped Dragon Ball Super because they changed Trunks' hair color. Who cares? It's a big deal, but it's not really a big deal. It's like, yeah, they should have done it, but it's par for the course. We're 3 seasons in. Why don't people understand this is not the beautiful and amazing, phenomenal manga that we read? You want that experience, you're gonna have to go to the manga. This is one of those cases. I'm just being realist at the end of the day. I'm not gonna lie and say whatever. Like, no, if you want that experience, you're gonna have to go to the manga. It's a better experience. I love the manga, but at the end of the day, the anime has been a separate thing for the most part from Jump. Obviously, it follows the same story, but it does a lot of different things and skips out. So I'm not gonna be complaining 3 seasons in. They're changing shit when they've been doing that since season 1. Kind of curious what a lot of you guys think about this episode. I've seen people raging about things that were missed from the manga. I see a lot of people praising it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and say, was it problematic? Yeah, it had a couple of issues here or there, changed things and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the pacing's better, the character building is better, the exposition is better, and what I mean by better, I'm talking about in terms of the previous 2 seasons, not in the manga. We know the manga is god tier, usually always is, in comparison to whatever anime it has as its counterpart. Your thoughts, did you like it, did you hate it? I ain't gonna lie, I loved the scene with Ken and Toka. Amazing, beautifully done art, and your overall thoughts. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. major move. Laugh and let the haters lose. We don't give a fuck, virginity intact, clean stack. Paper rules, if you heard it, best believe that. But now it's whatever, one day I'll be your favorite, but never. No matter how you get it done, no matter